right, so this should be no surprise to anyone. I just got done recording a video and I still cannot get my cat off of the table. Every time I take her off, she jumps back on. So I'm just embracing it at this point. I hope she doesn't hit any buttons and mess anything up, but I'm embracing it.
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
All right, you got to be a good girl, okay, Mikasa? Be a good girl. So you guys probably seen this or heard about it, or yeah, we know. But many NBA sources think Trae Young will be traded this summer if the Hawks can find a buyer. So that's the big question, right? Will they be able to find a buyer? So, all we really care about is the San Antonio Spurs. There is no doubt in my mind. Let me just say this, all right? This is me being a little bit more rhetoric heavy, okay? There is no doubt in my mind that the Spurs are going to explore trying to get Trae Young. There's also no doubt in my mind that in order to get Trae Young, I don't think that they're going to sacrifice Sohan nor Devin Vassell. The Spurs, the way that they've moved in the past, I don't see that as being an option. Now, there could be a 3-team trade in which they send off Keldon and maybe a couple other guys. I could see them possibly trading off Malachi. I don't know how bought in they are on Malachi, even though he's played fairly well and he's gotten better as the season went on. In my opinion, he has defensively specifically. He hasn't really surprised me offensively. I know that he can put up numbers when given the opportunity in his specific games, but defensively, I think that he's improved significantly over the season. But I think that that's a guy that the Spurs would be willing to part ways with. Shoot, even Blake Wesley, I think they would part ways with him. But I believe whatever they do, they're going to try their absolute best to hold on to Sohan Vassell. Will that be enough? Well, I think it depends, right? This is great for us. I think as time goes on, obviously what's going to end up happening is Trae Young will start to at least show or express that he's a little frustrated. He's given more than enough signs to show and display that, hey, I am totally up for playing for the Spurs. I love Wemby. We know that he went on that podcast in which these guys get all the questions beforehand. Their PR team gets all the questions beforehand on what's going to be asked. And he knew that he was going to get like 7 questions about Wemby. Okay, I'm being a little hyperbolic, but there were. Oh, sorry, Mike. Sorry about that. There were quite a few questions about Wembanyama, and he was totally ready to answer all of them. We also have his dad liking specific tweets when it pertains to the San Antonio Spurs. We know that Trae Young grew up a San Antonio Spurs fan. We know that there was some type of leak as far as his people saying that he will be up to play with Wembanyama, like he would like to do that. We have him liking and commenting on posts in which I think it was Julian Champagnie who missed Wemby on a wide open alley-oop, and he immediately said, hey, that's an easy play you could have made. So we know, okay, it's obvious. He's being a professional. He's not blatantly saying it, but we know Trae Young would be down to play for the Spurs. And only time will tell. I think what would really help the Spurs is the Atlanta Hawks having a hard time moving him. I think that would be the best case scenario. What we really want, and for this to happen, what we really want is for the Atlanta Hawks to come to the conclusion that we want control over our near future now, and the only way in which we can do that is make a deal with the San Antonio Spurs and just, clean house. That's the best possible scenario as far as us getting Trae Young. Now, here's the thing. I'm 50-50 on it, okay? I'm like Drake's diss song, all right? All right, drop and give me 50. I am 50-50 on this. I do not care whatsoever. I'm cool if we get Trae Young. I'll be excited. I'll be ecstatic. I'll be ready. Let's go. But if we don't, I'll totally be okay. The Spurs have so many draft picks, and the 2025 draft in particular, you have some really good draft picks. I'm cool. Like, I'm chilling. I do not mind whatsoever. And I think that, it might take an extra season to get our point guard, right? I know a lot of people use the argument, well, this guy, you draft this guy, but is he going to be as good as Trae Young? I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. But at the same time, it's not always about who's the most. I know it's going to sound crazy to say, but I don't think it's always about who's the most talented. Sometimes it is about who's the best fit or who would just be a great fit, right? Like, I don't know, as much as I love Tony Parker, I don't know if Tony Parker would have won multiple championships being the main guy or being on another team if it weren't for him being with Duncan, winning those rings. But he was a perfect fit with what the Spurs were trying to do. So I'm not the one that thinks that you have to have like 3 superstars on a team. That's not necessarily the case anymore. We don't have to worry about that, especially with the new. Oh my goodness, she is eating the keyboard. What are you doing? Don't eat the keyboard. Don't do that, okay? All right. Don't eat the keyboard. But yeah, we don't have to necessarily worry about that because the new players agreement has basically made it pretty difficult for teams to just get these crazy superstar, multiple superstars on one team type deals. So it definitely plays in our benefit as a small market, and we don't have to stress about, we have to have 50 million superstars to just contend. And also, the big thing of all this is the fact that you have Wemby. Okay, having Wemby gives you that flexibility where you don't have to necessarily have the superstar Trae Young. You could get someone that's a star, borderline all-star, caliber point guard, over, in the next few years and how they play. And they could be good enough to win championships. That's how much I believe in Wemby also. That's how good he is, okay? Kind of like Jokic, right? I think Jokic kind of has like a little dynasty being created, right? And I would not say Jokic has he has depth on his team. I wouldn't say he has like a superstar co-star, right? It's like he's the superstar, and then Jamal Murray, I think, is like star, kind of all-star star around that range. So he's a tier down for sure, and that's all you really need. But anyways, moving on. Just to tell you some of the quotes here, it says, this is from Eric Pincus from Bleacher Report. Many sources around the NBA believe Young will be moved this season, assuming Atlanta can find a buyer. And it says, it's difficult to win with a player like Trae. An Eastern Conference executive said he needs to be the best player on the team, but he's not that top tier level. That's funny that you say that, because that's actually how I view DeJounte Murray. Moving on. Let's see. However, the buzz around the NBA is that the Hawks will make more significant changes, starting with moving Young, provided there's a market for talented, diminutive, scoring point guards, Pincus wrote. And let's see, I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. So things are heating up. People know. They mentioned us here, by the way. The Los Angeles Lakers have been linked to Young recently, and back in February, former NBA player DeMarcus Cousins floated the idea of Young joining San Antonio Spurs. He wasn't the first to say that. Like, there were so many people, and there were reports, and there's hints towards it, to play alongside Victor Wembanyama. The Brooklyn Nets also may be possible landing spot. Back NBA trade deadline this past February, rumors and reports had the Hawks possibly looking to move DeJounte Murray. However, it seems there's a chance Atlanta will look to build around Murray instead. That would be great. Do it. Do it. I think actually that's because of the tweets that I put out. I don't know if you guys know, I put out a lot of tweets trying to encourage Atlanta Hawks to do that, okay? I put a lot of stuff out there. What was the last thing? What was the last game that happened? Hold on. Where is it? As you can see, I post a lot of Spurs. Here we go. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray is the future. He's the Atlanta GOAT. Yes. Please, for the love of God, do it. Do it. Let's see. Mark Stein said the Hawks are likely to trade either Trae Young or DeJounte Murray this offseason. One person acquainted with Atlanta's dynamic said the team knows it has to trade one or the other. That is so funny if they actually choose. By the way, all right, all jokes aside, if any some Atlanta Hawks fans tune in sometimes, especially if I'm talking about Trae Young, this would be an absolute catastrophe if you guys try to build around DeJounte Murray. That will be a terrible idea. Don't do it. That's just a bad idea. Every criticism that we just read, or this main criticism that we just read from this Eastern Conference executive, it's really DeJounte Murray. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, he's the type of player that he has to be the best player, or he has to have the the ball in his hands most of the time, but he is not on a level to take you there. And that's coming from a Spurs fan. I've watched it. I've experienced it. He won't. Okay, he just won't. That's nothing against him. I really think that he would pan out better if he played for like I know this is gonna sound disrespectful. I'm not trying to mean like disrespect at all. If he played for Golden State Warriors and he came off the bench, kind of like a Sean Livingston type role, I think that would be nasty, right? That would be nasty. But then it's just a matter of how would DeJounte feel about it. But yeah, don't actually do that. But I'm cool with it. If y'all want to do it, that would be hilarious. Anyways, I will get with you guys later. Until next time, man. Bye.